What's going on, y'all? Today we're going to go over the Pregen08k1 map. Now, this map is a great map for starters, particularly if you're on PS5 or a Series X. A lot of folks are telling me that on the Series S, the 6K maps perform a little bit better. However, the 8K1 map is a great go-to, and one thing you will notice right away, particularly if you're coming from doing a Navigating playthrough, is this map is jam-packed with POIs. As you see here, there's POIs big and small all the way over to the edges of the entire map surrounding the entire thing. There is no shortage of things to do on 8K1. Now, this particular map is a forest center biome map. It's got an abundance of traders. We got 4 traders in the forest, 4 in the burnt forest, 3 in the desert, 3 in the snow, and then another 4 down in the wasteland. If you're following trader progression, it is going to take you from the forest over to the burnt forest, then up to the desert, over to the snow biome, and then finally down in the wasteland. Now, you notice these wasteland cities are absolutely enormous. There's just a ton of POIs and things to do throughout this one. Now, when it comes to overall book finding, we all know it's all about the books, and oh my god, would you look at all of the book spawns throughout the map. This particular map has 1,292 book containers. That's a shitload of books, that is for darn sure. As you see, just like when we looked at the trader view, the biggest density of these book locations, of course, are all around the major cities. So just a ton of books available around all of those major cities. If we take a look for specifics and look for, say, some crack-a-book locations, there are a ton of crack-a-books. There's only one there in the forest, one in the burnt forest, but then when you get up to the desert, there's going to be 3 locations. 2 over in the snow, and then 3 in the wastelands. Now, for me personally, I think one of the important parts of this one is it is a whole lot of crack-a-book stores and crack-a-book cafes. So that is just absolutely incredible. We got a country crack-a-book here in the forest area. Over in the burnt forest, we got that first crack-a-book cafe. Now, Crack-a-Cafe, for me personally, I feel like I get the greatest amount of books out of it. I don't know. Call me crazy. However, Crack-a-Cafe is the spot. When you head up to the desert, you're going to have another Crack-a-Cafe right here. And then up in the very north part of the desert with that larger city, there is a Crack-a-Book headquarters if you're wanting to hunt down one of those skyscrapers. And another Crack-a-Cafe. Now, over in the snow, we have got a regular Crack-a-Book store. This will be one of the smaller stores, still packed full of books. And then yet another in that southern area. Now, as far as the burnt forest, or pardon me, the wasteland biome goes, we've got 2 Crack-a-Book stores in both of those major cities to the east, and then a Crack-a-Cafe over in that far west Wastelands biome city. So lots of Crack-a-Cafes to hit. The important thing with these, I mentioned it in the last video, particularly, or I didn't mention it, pardon me, I failed to mention it in the last video, particularly if you're following trader quest progression. If you get a trader quest, or you see a trader quest for Crack-a-Book, any of the Crack-a-Books, whether it be the cafes, the headquarters, anything at all, when you get to the POI, raid the POI first and get all the books, then go back outside, start the quest, and it will reset the POI and allow you to loot the entire thing again. So, a quick little trick to get books super easy if you're following trader quest progression. Now, as is, I'm pretty sure everyone, I personally am a big fan of the Shotgun Messiah. There's plenty of Shotgun Messiahs throughout. We've got a Shotgun Messiah range over in the forest. That particular POI is one of my favorite Shotgun Messiah POIs in the game, and this map is packed full of them. We got another range here in the desert, and then up in that larger desert city, we got a ransack Shotgun Messiah, and yet another range. Over in the snow, another range, and down in the wastelands, a range and a ransacked. So lots of Shotgun Messiah locations. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them throughout the map. So lots of places to find some weapon upgrades or some various goodies. The map is also just packed completely full of Tier 5 POIs. There is none in the forest zone. However, when we come over to the burnt forest, we have got a 7-day suites right here in this kind of central city. And then up north, we've got a Grover High School. The desert is pretty loaded up. We've got 3 in the eastern town, 2 in the middle, 2 in the west, and 1 in the south. Over here in the eastern town, we're going to have a U.S. Army Post number 7, yet another Grover High School, and an Ostrich Hotel. In that center city, we're going to have a Naviscane General Hospital and a Poppin' Pills factory. Over to the western city, there is a Vanity Tower and a Minotaur Theater. I think Minotaur Theater may be my favorite of the new POIs. That one is a blast to run. And then down south, we've got a U.S. Army Post number 7. The snow biome is going to have 5 Tier 5 POIs. The northern city will have 3 of them. There's another Minotaur Theater, an Ostrich Hotel, and then the big stadium, the Naviscane Athletics Complex, are all going to be in this northern town in the snow biome. And then in the south, we've got the Last Sunset Nursing Home and a Shamway factory. Now, the Wastelands, as you see, is just riddled with Tier 5 POIs. Let's start over in the west here. We've got 4 of them, a Crack-A-Book headquarters, a Vanity Tower, a 2-Bit Tower, and a Grover High School. We're going to have 5 in that central city. The one up north is a Poppin' Pills factory, and then the ones in that southern area is a Higashi Pharmaceutical, a Naviscane County Jail, a Dishong Tower, and a U.S. Army Post number 7. Kind of down here all by itself outside of the city is, of course, the Red Mesa compound. And then in this far eastern city up to the north, we've got a Grover High School. All the way to the east, we've got another Naviscane Corrections. Then we've got an Ostrich Hotel here. We've got a Higashi Pharmaceutical there. Right in this section is a Vanity Tower. And then in this little mess in the middle, we've got a Dr. Karen Higashi Residence, a Poppin' Pills factory, a Minotaur Theater, and a Crack-A-Book headquarters. So a absolute ton of Tier 5 POIs, 34 total, available throughout the map. Next up, we've got some bomb shelters. Now, bomb shelters are always quite fun. It's something you weren't expecting to really be there. And we have got 3 different bomb shelters. Now, these are all going to be in specific POIs. They're going to be in Hexagon Hideaway, Bart's Salvage. That's the 2 POIs for it. So when we take a look throughout, all the way up in the very corner of the desert, we do have a Hexagon Hideaway. The important thing with this POI is you could just drive right past it thinking it's absolutely nothing, because it literally looks like just a shack. There's normally a mob inside. However, if you go out back, you're going to find a switch out in the little shed that will open up the basement. By going down into the basement, it's going to open up a huge underground bunker complex with lots and lots of areas to explore. And then you got Bart's Salvage. This is like a regular old salvage yard. It is over here in the snow biome. This one, once again, the entrance to it is not really hidden. It's right in the middle of the POI. However, if you're running through the POI fast or you get sweated by a bunch of zombies, you can overlook at it. It's going to be out in the very back of like the junkyard area, and you're going to see that entrance going right down. You got one more Hexagon Hideaway over here in the Wastelands down to the far southwest. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a 7 Days to Die map without some hidden bunkers. Cool little bunkers. We've got Hidden Hollow. There's 2 Hidden Hollow locations. One of them up here in the snow, another over in the burnt forest. Now, these 2 particular locations are super, super easy to miss, but they're all going to follow the same general loadout. There's going to be a car parked, and then off in the distance from the car, you're going to see an air vent coming up. The hatch to get down into the hidden bunker is always going to be between the air vent and the car. So if you can locate the car, you see the air vent, the hatch is somewhere hidden directly in between the two. It's normally under a little pile of shrubs. The one up in the snow is following that same format. So you've got the car, you have got the air vent, and then in between, you're going to have that hatch going down. Now, in addition to the hidden hollow, we are also going to have one prepper's den location. This is going to be right in the forest, and you're very likely to accidentally run into the air vent pipe for this one, as you can just drive right past it. There's no real discerning markers showing anything off. A lot of times there will be a lamp there that's on. That is it. You're very, like I said, you're likely to drive right past this one and actually wreck into the air vent pipe that's coming up. And that's a good sign for you that there's going to be a hatch right there. This is the little prepper's bunker, so it is like a container style bunker that is just right there next to that air vent. Now, of course, at some point, you're going to want to start growing some super corn, and there is a ton of super corn locations throughout this Pregen08k1. So it's always one of two POIs. You got Bob's Boars and Carl's Corn. The important thing to note with Bob's Boars is although there are additional super corn spawns, the main thing you're looking for is the seeds and the seed recipe. You don't have to run the POI. You can just go up and smash through the front door. The super corn is always going to be there, right there to the right of the very front door. And if you go up the stairs, wipe out the baddies, play around with the valves, and you're going to unlock the access to the super corn. Now, don't just loot the corn, because there's always going to be a chest down there behind it. So make sure you get that chest. That's going to give you some super corn seeds and the recipe to be able to craft your own. Now, in addition to that, there is NDC checkpoint number 3. Now, this is a tier 4 POI. It's one that's actually quite fun to run and often has trader quests associated with it. So, by all means, run through this one, and the super corn stash is always going to be in the same place. As you go through the POI, normally you're going to come across a group of kind of like outside modular housing units. The second group of these outside modular housing units, the super corn is always going to be in this one, right through the door and to the left. That's going to be the super corn stash, which of course is going to give you some seeds and the recipe to craft. Now, you got your first super corn location at a Bob's Boars right in the forest. Moving over to the burnt forest, you've got another Bob's Boars. Up in the desert, you have got a Bob's Boars, and you've got an NDC checkpoint 3. So you've got the two different POIs to play with there. And then over in the wasteland, there's 3 possible spawns. There's an NDC checkpoint 3 right at the northernmost part of the wastelands there. And then down in that far western city, there is a Bob's Boars over to the east, and then an NDC checkpoint 3 that's over to the west. These 2 POIs are the ones to always watch out for. You're more likely, well, I guess you're likely to run across any of them naturally. On the Pregen08k1 map, they are spread around enough, so pretty much no matter where you're at, you're going to have access to getting some super corn. Next up, we got hidden stashes. Now, hidden stashes, it's a special box. There's never an abundance of them on any map. However, I gotta tell you before you go hunting these things that I personally have never gotten anything good out of them. If you look at the actual files, they can drop anything in the game. So, you know, anything at the game can drop out of these. With that in mind, it's an enormous pool. You could get something really good. I've probably looted 20, 30 of these, and I've never gotten anything really incredible. They're going to be in a few main POIs scattered throughout the map. First off is going to be mushroom mining. Mushroom mining company, you're just going to want to watch out for the opening in the ceiling as you're making your way through the POI. You look up, you'll see a little opening. the hidden stash is going to be up in that opening. Now you've got the Erickson residence and then the Serrano residence. The Serrano residence always has 2 of them. Now I gotta just give a little plug to the Serrano residence. Just like in my last video, this is a really awesome POI. So if you've never checked it out, you're going to want to run through it once because it's just super cool. It's not crazy challenging. It's a tier 3 POI, so it's relatively easy to navigate, but is super, super fun without a doubt. Now, taking a look at all the hidden stash locations, you're going to start off in the forest. You've got a right residence in the southern part of the forest. All the way to the north, you've got a mushroom mining company. Over in the burnt forest, you got 3 locations. You've got a mushroom mining company the furthest to the northwest. The most central location is a right residence. And then all the way at the very bottom is a Serrano residence. You got 2 in the desert, kind of on the outskirts over to the east. One of them would be a Serrano residence right here in the southeast corner. And then a little bit further up to the northeast, there is the mushroom mining company. There's 4 locations in the snow biome. Starting all the way up north, there is a right residence, right almost at the very border of the map. Coming down just west of the first major city, you got a Serrano residence. Directly in that southern city, you've got an Erickson residence. And then over to kind of the southeastern part of the 2 cities, there is another right residence right there. And then, of course, in the wastelands, there's 5 places. So, top northwest, we've got a mushroom mining company. We've got an Erickson residence, once again, directly in the largest city on the map on the southern side. And then south of town, we got 3 locations. There's a Serrano residence, there is a right residence, and then there's another Serrano residence over here. Like I said, the Serrano residence, it's just a super fun location. It's worth checking out, even if you don't go after the hidden stashes, which, once again, I personally have never gotten anything good out of. They are a special stash or a special loot crate. There's very few of them on every map, and this is the location of these. And then last but not least, I know lots of players love the big metropolitan areas with the big skyscrapers. These are the skyscraper POIs. We've got 3 of them up here in the desert. There's a demolition site, a Crack-a-Book headquarters, and then a tower construction site. And then we've got them in every city in the wastelands. Starting over here to the west, you got a Higashi pharmaceutical and a tower construction site. That centralized city has a Dishong Tower and a Meridian Center. And then over in the large city, you've got 5 POIs. You got a Zillion Tower, you got an abandoned office tower, you got a Tier 4 tower construction site, and a Meridian Center. So there are lots of big buildings if you like diving through those skyscraper types. Now, I do plan on going through all of the pre-gen maps this weekend. I have no real specific order. I was going to try to hit the 8K ones up this weekend. I won't be able to get all of them done over the weekend for sure. If there's one particular map you would like to see a full breakdown of, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.